Hey, I call this regular session of Mayor and City Council meeting at 6:05 p.m. this Thursday, July 12, 2018 at City Hall Complex, Council Chambers. Will you please all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Councilman Henesian, would you lead us on the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, you may be seated. Thank you. Okay, I guess we have a presentation today from Nogales Fire and Medical Department for the 2018 award winners. Thank you, Chief.
Good evening, Mayor and members of Council. Thank you for having me. Starting this year, the Fire Department created a process by which we can recognize the hard work of our staff members. Nominations were collected throughout the entire department. Nominations, submissions were encouraged, again, from every member of the department. Once we got the nominations collected, we removed the personal identifying information, and we had an outside panel of working professionals rate the nominations based on merit. And this evening I present to you the three individuals that were chosen to receive the awards. So I will now read the award citations and ask them to come forward after I'm completing reading the citation. The first one is the Outstanding Achievement Award. And the Outstanding Achievement Award is bestowed on an annual basis and is designed to recognize individuals that have gone beyond the call of duty during the previous year. Examples of efforts worthy of recognition include actions and efforts beyond the call of duty that have had a positive impact on the department's ability to carry out its diverse mission. Specific examples include exemplary leadership, the undertaking of a special project, and any other efforts geared towards advancing the organization. The Nogales Fire and Medical Department is pleased to announce that it has selected Division Chief Jerry Castro as the recipient of this year's Outstanding Achievement of the Year Award. Chief Castro worked tirelessly this past year implementing the Image Trend program. Image Trend now serves as the department's electronic patient care report system, fire incident reporting, and fire prevention reporting program. Implementation was a year-long process, during which time Chief Castro worked daily on overseeing the various aspects of the large undertaking. The available funding only provided for a limited amount of consultant services. This required Chief Castro to spend countless hours on fine-tuning the program, adding data, scheduling trainings, coordinating meetings, and speaking with outside agencies and vendor representatives. For a period of approximately 6 months, Chief Castro scheduled weekly implementation meetings that required bringing together fire department administrative staff, police department command staff, the dispatch supervisor, MIS staff, and Image Trend service and training representatives. Simultaneously, throughout much of this time frame, Chief Castro scheduled weekly data entry sessions with personnel from Tubac Fire, Rio Rico Medical Fire District, and a team from Nogales Fire and Medical Department. In addition to the implementation of Image Trend, the process of bridging Image Trend with the city's computer-aided dispatch program would prove to be challenging. During the initial implementation phase, a series of trainings were scheduled at the shift level and a go-live date was set. The department continues to fine-tune the system, and Chief Castro continues to manage the program. Through the implementation of the Image Trend software, the department has been brought into the 21st century and can now manage, share, analyze, and validate data in a professional manner. The technology will also open the door to other advancements and opportunities in the future. Chief Castro, if you would come forward, please. Thank you. Okay, thank you. The next award recognizes 90% of our mission, which is emergency medical services. The EMS Professional of the Year Award is bestowed on an annual basis and is designed to recognize individuals that have gone beyond the call of duty during the previous year. Examples of efforts worthy of recognition include actions and efforts that have bolstered the department's mission of providing the most professional and compassionate EMS service possible. Specific examples include exemplary leadership, the undertaking of a special project, acting in a professional or courageous manner during an emergency or other difficult situation, and any other actions of kindness, compassion, integrity, and professionalism that have benefited the department, our personnel, or the community. The Nogales Fire and Medical Department is pleased to announce that it has selected firefighter paramedic Omar Delgadillo as this year's EMS Professional of the Year. Firefighter Delgadillo has earned the respect of his peers as a competent and caring medical provider. In addition, Omar is the department's CPR program coordinator and is currently working on reestablishing this important aspect of public education. Omar also serves on the Wildland team as one of the only Red Guard certified paramedics, an important position in order to support the department's ability to deploy a medical team on extended fire assignments. During a review of the nominations submitted on his behalf, one in particular stood out and is paraphrased below. Omar was my partner during some of the most stressful and emotionally demanding calls our shift responded to in 2017. Ultimately, his actions saved the life of an adolescent patient who would not have survived injuries sustained as a result of a motor vehicle accident. His calm and collected demeanor in conjunction with his competency as a medical provider were crucial. Because of his genuine compassion for the patient and family, he managed to quietly keep in touch with the family and continue to follow up on the patient's progress. Omar never seeks recognition. He simply has a genuine concern for the well-being of the patients and customers he serves in the course of his duties. Omar and his crew encountered other difficult calls throughout the year, and he continued to handle all of them in a professional and kind manner. Omar, will you please come forward? And the final award tonight that we want to recognize is the Firefighter of the Year Award. The Firefighter of the Year Award is the department's highest level of recognition. The award is bestowed on an annual basis and is designed to recognize individuals that have gone beyond the call of duty during the previous year. Examples of efforts worthy of recognition include exemplary leadership, the undertaking of a special project that has had a positive effect on the department, acting in a professional or courageous manner during an emergency or other difficult situation, and any other acts of kindness, compassion, integrity, and professionalism that have benefited the department, our personnel, or the community. The Nogales Fire and Medical Department is pleased to announce it has selected firefighter Ken Lariva as this year's Firefighter of the Year. Firefighter Lariva has worked for the department for 10 years and has served as the Wildland Team Coordinator for the past few years. The Wildland team is composed of 10 to 12 individuals who have completed additional training requirements and respond nationwide to fires and other disasters. Serving as the Wildland Team Coordinator requires Firefighter Lariva to be on call 24/7 in order to accept and process resource orders. He is currently the department's only certified Wildland engine boss, which means that if the department fills a request for a fire unit, he must also take the assignment. In addition, Firefighter Lariva also manages the team's training program, Red Card certifications, and attends various meetings where he represents the organization as the primary point of contact for the Wildland team. Firefighter Lariva assisted with the management of a Wildland grant this year that provided much needed personal protective equipment to several members of the department. This past fire season was extremely busy, and Firefighter Lariva worked many hours above and beyond his normal shift schedule. He also volunteers as a member of the city's Employee Trust Benefit Committee, which manages the city's health plan. In addition, he sits on the city's Health and Wellness Committee. Firefighter Lariva is very active in both the department and the community promoting health and wellness and serves as one of the department's peer fitness coordinators. Firefighter Lariva exemplifies what it means to be a public safety professional, and the Nogales Fire and Medical Department looks forward to his continued service. Firefighter Lariva, please come forward.
Good work, guys.
Just in closing, it's always been my experience that firefighters are always very reluctant to accept any form of recognition. The culture of the fire service values humility, and it also values teamwork. They respond as a team, and everything they do from the time the wheels roll revolves around teamwork for the purpose of safety. And every member of the fire department serves a great value to our community and serves our community day in and day out. But what we want to do is just at the end of the year focus on the previous year and recognize those individuals that have gone beyond the call of duty, past the status quo, moving the organization forward, progressing the organization, and recognize them. And it's great for our younger firefighters to have an example to follow as well. So we hope to institutionalize this in our organization and do this once a year. They were recognized at a very small ceremony there at our classroom on June 14th. We hope to expand that with cooperation with the union and do something a little more as this grows. But this is the first year that we've wanting to do this. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Chief. Anything for recognition or anything?
So during the recognition on June 14th, we provided them with a plaque that had the citation award on it. Again, we're hoping to expand this and work on this. But yes, we did. We provided them with the citation and a nice plaque and recognized them at that point. So.
Chief, I want to thank you for those recognitions. It's uplifting for the whole council. Makes us very proud to know that we have such fine employees here in the city of Nogales. Thank you all for your great efforts and the work you do for Nogales. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, well, let's, on another note, let's get down to business. We have after the presentation liquor license, and we have consideration and possible action of liquor license 2018-7, approval of recommendation of the issuance of liquor license for Juan Alberto Herrera for Tito's Pizza, Wine, and Wings.
So moved.
We have a motion.
Second.
All those in favor? Well, let's see here. Open for discussion. Okay, seeing none. All those in favor of approving this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
Mayor, could I ask you for some consideration here, please? Could you please, on order so we don't delay, he's been here for a while, Mr. Earl Sires, on his presentation, and I think we can handle that right away, so he doesn't have to sit here through the entire meeting while we're in the executive session. Order 6. He made his presentation, the police chief and the fire chief made their recommendations, so I think on that one we're pretty much ready to go.
Oh, that's right. Thank you. Yes,
So he
thank you for bringing that up, Councilman Arjona. Yes, we'll go ahead and deviate at this time for going under orders number 6. We covered this in our study session.
Yeah.
So it's a consideration and possible action. Now, wait a minute. Before we go any further, I think we had a motion beforehand.
There was a motion.
There wasn't a second.
There was a second, I believe. So.
Was executive session?
This on the
No, there was no second on the other
first
one?
agenda
I
item?
just want to make sure. Okay.
No,
So we'll
not
go
an
ahead,
executive session.
then we'll go ahead and move and go deviate to number 6.
Yes.
And it's consideration and possible action of order 2018-07-047, an order of the Council of the City of Nogales approving the Santa Cruz County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan for 2018. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay. Open for discussion. We have a second here? Okay. So
Second.
All right, we have a second.
Yeah.
We're open for discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor of approving this order signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Sayers, for the presentation and the great work you do and everyone involved is doing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Now we go back to number 7, executive session. And now do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Discussion.
Discussion?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
I just want to clarify what we're going to be going into the executive session for. I am the president of the Santa Cruz Children's Museum, which will be discussed there, and I want to ask the city attorney if I do have a conflict of interest. I am not on any payroll or anything like that. I'm strictly a volunteer.
I understand that you're a volunteer and that you're not receiving pecuniary value as your status as a volunteer, Dr. Barona and Mr. Mayor. However, it depends on what your it's your discretion, Dr. Barona, with regards to whether you want to listen in on the conversation that will be held in executive session, and or comment with regards to what will be discussed in that executive session. And at the end of the day, it's based on your estimation of whether it will at some point become an appearance of impropriety on your part to be voting both as a councilman and as a member of the board of directors for the Children's Museum.
Let's see, we have the...
Yes, Mr.
Go ahead, Councilman.
Thank you, Mayor. I also too sat as a board member on the Santa Cruz Children's Museum, and I spoke with the city attorney and Dr. Felix yesterday, and received advice yesterday that I did have a conflict, and I consequently submitted my resignation to the board of the Children's Museum early this morning. So I no longer serve as a member of the Children's Museum board, and will be participating in the discussion and action on this item. Thank you, Mayor.
Mayor, I just want to get a point of clarification for Mr. Pata. Just give me an answer, yes or no. Do I have a conflict of interest?
There's a difference, Councilman Barona, between a conflict of interest and an appearance of impropriety.
Okay, tell me what the difference is and if I have it or not.
Right. So, in my legal opinion, your participation and or vote on any matter pertaining to whether the city enters into a lease or a license agreement with the Children's Museum could end up as an appearance of impropriety on your part, as opposed to a full-fledged conflict of interest. Depends on whether there's a pecuniary value that will be gained by you in the future. If you were to derive some type of benefit as the president of the Children's Museum, or if there is some other benefit to be derived, then that's when it could evolve into a conflict of interest.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor? No,
What?
I was going to ask a question.
Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
Is there a liability for the councilman or for the council in this particular situation?
Liability for purposes of again,
Of participating.
for participating.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any liability per se, but it in essence it comes down to whether there's the personal gain to be benefited from participation.
Yeah, because we have a very large community. You don't know who might be against you. That's what I'm saying. There might be a lot of people that favor it, that don't see it. in any way, shape, or form bad, but there could be somebody there. I'm just raising the point for discussion.
Mr. Para, then, if I remove myself from the diocese, I can participate with my verbal presentation from the podium.
You can, on behalf of the Children's Museum.
Yes. Okay.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Anything else? See? Now, can we put it to a vote now? Okay. All those in favor of going to executive session, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No nays?
Abstain.
Okay. Motion carried. Yeah. And I call back this regular session of Mayor and City Council meeting from executive session, and we'll go to number 8, discussion items. Number 1, discussion concerning a license agreement or lease with Santa Cruz Children's Museum Incorporation to occupy the former Palo Duro Golf Course building.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move that we table this item for a couple months.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Open for discussion?
Discussion on the table. There's no discussion.
No
on the table.
discussion?
No, but
First is
will you take it, will you accept from the public, Mayor, on this?
Sure, go ahead. So right now you're off the dais.
After that.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, point of order, under a motion to table, there is no discussion.
We're not going to discuss it though.
Well,
I think we're getting an opinion here.
was it a motion to table?
apprehensive
Yes,
of-
sir.
Yes.
Are you apprehensive of speaking to the public?
Well,
Well,
Mr. Mayor, if there was a motion to table, and
And a second.
that's what, in a second, discussion is limited.
Well, we can limit it. I just want to, I want to know,
Well, there's no discussion, right? I'm
There is no
sorry about that.
discussion,
I didn't, yeah. was
Because it
tabled.
is a motion to table.
Right.
That was just a point of order. On
Yeah,
the motion to
yeah.
table, there's no discussion.
Okay.
well, I don't need to be educated on that. I know that. But the mayor has the privilege to go ahead and allow me to speak.
Mr. Mayor?
Well, with me, is it? I think you can say a few words.
You're
It's
the
not,
man.
it's not gonna, we're not gonna
20
have a
words.
rebuttal or anything.
20 words.
Just, you can speak your mind.
Seems like we're discussing it.
I just want to, just to make the point, because I heard that you want to table the motion for several months,
2 months.
60 days. Okay. But I just want you, you can do what you think is appropriate. I just want you to know that we have a strong group of volunteers that are working on this project. We are at the point now where we want to look at a piece of property. If you're not interested in us, we can go ahead and look at other viable situations for us, because we would like to hire an executive director to go ahead and help us start putting the sustainability plan together for this organization. And the longer that we wait, we can't get into fundraising. The fundraising is the financial stability of this organization. We have to make sure that it's viable, not for the next 5 years, not for the next 10 years, but for the next 25 years financially. So we would just like to know what your plans are, because we've been at this now ourselves for 3 years, and every time we come here, it's another month meeting. Now it's 2 months meeting. We just tell us yes or no. We know how to handle our business organizations, and we have other options that we can look at also. So that's the point that I want to make to you people. You're holding us up. We're ready to go. We have the financial resources. You put out a request for proposals. We've met the criteria for the request for proposals. Now we're ready to move on for a project that, in our opinion, is going to enhance the quality of life for our community. And that's what we're looking for. It's just one delay after another delay. If you don't want us, we'll move on. I'm not finished yet.
But you're repeating yourself.
That's okay, I'll repeat myself 5 times, but I'll go ahead and, if it takes 5 times to make my point, I'm gonna do it so you guys understand
All right.
what we're faced with here, though, too. Very disappointed, extremely disappointed.
Thank you so much for your comments on that, Dr. Limon. Okay, now we have a motion and a second to table. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Seeing none, motion carried unanimously. And now we go to number 2.
Mr. Mayor, could I say something now? This is
a motion was made and it was passed, and I think there
Yes,
was
but not on this, right?
it allowed for discussion.
On this.
Are you going, oh, I thought you were going on the next one.
No, on.
Because we finished,
We can't go out of order.
Yeah, we
Mr.
already
Hines.
finished
Yeah,
up,
I
but
think
we'll-
a motion was made and it was passed, and I think there was time for, there was sufficient time allowed for discussion.
Mr. Mayor?
We said there was no discussion.
Yeah, but Mr. Mayor, Councilman Hassan, is it brief?
Very brief.
It's
but we're
brief.
done. We're done with that motion.
I
We
know,
can't-
but-
we can't,
But
we can't talk about
You know
it
what we
anymore.
I
can
know,
do,
but you
Mr.
made
Mayor,
it,
Mr.
my
Mayor.
point is this.
Again,
You
we're-
made an exception.
No, we did it while it was still, the motion was open. But now the motion is done. We've already voted on it. And we're up to the next item. And, you can jump at that one all you want.
Okay,
So
I
we're gonna
will.
continue, we're gonna continue to number 2, which is a discussion and possible action, freezing water rate for 1 year as long as it doesn't affect our current WIFA loan.
So move.
Okay, I have a second on that? Okay, I
Which one are
second.
we on, Mr. Mayor?
We're in number 2,
Discussion item 2.
Okay,
discussion item.
discussion of possible action.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. We need a second?
We need us.
Okay, I second that motion. And open for discussion. Now, yes, sir.
A quick
Councilman
question.
Diaz.
It says here, as long as it doesn't affect our ratings with the WIFA loan. Has that been done already?
Yes, that's what we're, Dr. Felix, can you?
Mayor, Councilman Diaz, we've met with the financial advisor Monday, Tuesday, and he indicated that our bond rating is very positive, it's a AA, and suggested that we take a close look at any action that we take that might affect our ability to go out for additional Reb D bonds or general bonds for the infrastructure, the water infrastructure, which is very critical. It should have been addressed 2 or 3 years back. It hasn't been addressed, and at this point, we really need to make it a priority to resolve to address the water line issues across the city. At that time, 2 or 3 years ago, the amount was about $12 million. With inflation, I'm projecting it might be $14, $15 million. The longer we wait, in terms of the possible negative effect that can happen with the water lines busting, I think is critical for the city to be. It's incumbent on the city to address this issue as soon as possible. And the water rates study really recommended that you raise the rates, and it's only, the next water rate will be 7 cents, increased by 7 cents.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. Janet Perales, Finance Director. Based on the handout that you received with the agenda, if you look at the second page, you'll see that the final increase for the rates that were proposed a few years ago.
Wait, can you hold back? We
Yes.
didn't get the handouts.
Oh, you didn't receive? Oh, okay. I must have seen. So on the second page, you'll see a table of the increases. The one for September of, there'll be one in 18 and one in 19. And so the increase will be, to the base charge, it's 33 cents. And then based on the consumption, the minimum, the 0 to 3,000 is 34 cents a gallon. 3,000 to 8,000 is 39 cents. And then so on, 43, 47, 61, and 76 cents per gallon.
So, 1,000 gallon usage, they would be charged $39 extra? 39 cents?
39 cents per 1,000 gallons, yes.
Oh, it's per thousand, okay. Okay, that's basically, the normal usage, gallons for a normal home here in Nogales, what is about 8,000 gallons?
About 8,000 gallons, yes.
Okay, so,
So we're talking for 39 cents.
okay. So it shouldn't be more than roughly for normal use, another $3.50 a day.
Yes, and that with including the
If
base
they double,
charge.
if they double their usage, is that, or for the usage at 8,000 gallon usage,
For usage at 8,000, you
would
take,
be another $3 and
yes.
some cents. All right, but we hear this, but every time we do make a rate hike, people come in and really put complaints about their water rates going up considerably more than normally. Is that, can you give us, can the administration give us a reason? Because we have to answer to the people when they call us and they want to know why their rates are going $10 up a month or $15 up a month. And that, again, I know there's a lot of things that come into play, like the usage and maybe sometimes some make the mistake of thinking that the overall bill is just based on water when it's different. But is there anything that, because we deal with some complaints, you deal with, I think water department deals with a lot more. Is there something you can tell the council so that we can give a better answer to the general public?
Mayor, if I may, we've been working pretty diligent, the staff has been working pretty diligent at answering and educating the folks that do come in terms of what,
Good, appreciate that.
why the bills are as they are, and explaining pretty thoroughly. We're also working with a team of administrators to look at what major issues are consistent with the water rates being too high. Are there leakages and all that, and how do we help the homeowner resolve those issues? So we're making every effort to address each issue and concern, and spending sufficient time with each client to explain what the rationale is, and obviously they're not too happy with the increases, but at least they understand the rationale for it. More important is that if we do not address the water infrastructure issues immediately, I think we could have some major issues down the line, and the cost would be substantially a lot more. So that's important to keep into consideration.
Okay. And the other thing I saw here on the next page, that Nogales has a lower, at this point, water base rate meter lower than our surrounding neighbors, including Valle Verde Water Company, Zaguarita, Rio Rico, and Sierra Vista.
Right.
We're at the lower end.
Yes.
So even with our rate hike, we would probably end up comparable to Zaguarita by the next two rate hikes.
So,
Now, you already explained this rate hike that we're having this year, and you said there's another one coming.
in September 2000. So the base rate for September 2019 will be $10.56.
With the rate hike?
Yes.
Okay, so the one you have right now is already taken into consideration.
No, sir. Currently, the base charge is $8.92. When the next rate increase is implemented in September, it'll go up to $10.25. And then the final one in September of 2019, the base will be $10.56.
So it'll only go up $2.50 in these two rate hikes.
$1.33 in September of 2018, and then an additional 31 cents
Oh,
in
that.
September 2019.
And that'll be
That'll be the final,
based on the 8,000.
That's on the base.
that's on the base charge.
Be in 2 years would be $1.64. That's just the base. Plus
Yeah, the
then
base,
what it
right.
is
Plus the
per
But
gallon.
that's how
years
it's,
is the
that's what the rates are
Yeah,
affecting
2
too.
years.
So it's a minimum.
That's the minimum, right, that's to have a
And
water line
But
to
we need
your
that
home.
information to relate to the folks that call in, because they hear rate hikes on the water, and they get a little paranoid. And if we're armed with the information, the exact information, we can relay it to them, and if they have any other questions, well, they can call
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
water department, I guess. Yes, Councilman Lucero, you have-
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My recollection was that when we adopted this rate plan structure 2 years ago, it was based on an analysis done by an engineering firm, is that correct?
Right.
And their recommendation was to do this tiered approach over the time period that was being, I guess, recommended. And at the time, I remember my comments were that it was going to come back and bite us because people were going to be upset, and I had asked council if they would like to consider a more staggered process. But at the time, it was outvoted, and the rate plan was adopted, and it was going to be over this time frame, and we have what we have. And at the time, I asked how many public hearings we had had, and we had several meetings over this issue. We had a public hearing over the issue. We sent out notices in the water bills to tell them that we were going to be having a meeting to discuss the rate hike, and at the time, even the newspaper was covering it, and I think the only person in the audience was the newspaper. And I said, well, mark my words that, once the rate hike goes into effect, that's when people will become upset, and that's exactly what's happened. It's the chickens are coming home to roost, or people aren't happy with the rate structure. But the purpose of the rate structure is to do what? I mean, how was the water company, our water department, operating financially? Historically, have we been paying our bills up until the new rate structure was implemented?
We have, but as I said, the urgency of the matter is that there's a major infrastructure requirements that are coming up.
At least the way I looked at it, we were in the red, and the general fund was having to supplant the water department until we got the new rate structure in place.
That's correct.
So now we're breaking even, is that correct, or?
Well,
Not this year, though. This year, we're,
So we're still not even breaking even with the new rate structure?
right, except for, the exception is sanitation.
So currently, if we look at, and I apologize, I don't have enough handouts for everyone. I'll put them in your box tomorrow. Currently, cash in, cash out or actually with water, the way it's managed is that all bills mailed are recorded as revenue. But that doesn't necessarily mean somebody will pay.
It's like property tax.
Right. So then, total revenues for this year recorded were 3.3 million. And, I'm sorry, that's the budget. The actual collected or billed was 4.1, and the total year-to-date expenses, cash out, is 3.7, leaving us an excess of 399,000. This number does not reflect any end-of-year entries that we need to prepare for audit. We'll have depreciation that has to be recorded. Once that's all said and done, it will be in the fund will be in the red.
So we're still
Right.
not doing well. So then, Dr. Felix, you mentioned that we've got substantial capital expenses. So can you elaborate on that? What are we looking at in terms of dollars that we need to make for repairs? Do we have an estimate of what we're looking at?
Well, I only have what was determined by the water study itself, which was $12 million.
So we've got a $12 million expense for capital improvements.
Right.
Is that, I assume, water mains, valves, et cetera?
Right.
And so that all goes towards how our water department or operation is functioning. So what I'm hearing is we've got some substantial maintenance issues in the near future. So we've got an underfunded water department, which doesn't bode well if we're looking at trying to promote economic development, if we can't cover the cost of our operating system. I guess another question I have is does this also pose a public health risk in terms of fire safety and those sorts of issues? So we've got a real dilemma in our hands is we got to figure out how to start operating the water department more like a business and get it at a cost plus basis so we can address long-term financial issues. If we were to finance these capital costs, what would our ability to finance look like if our rate structure isn't covering our operational?
Mr. Vargas was going to present some options, and has he called us yet?
Right, and then I did speak briefly with him on Tuesday after we met with him, and he did indicate that if we were not demonstrating that we are being financially responsible and putting the fund in a good position, that it could affect any possibilities of getting a WIFA loan or
basically,
bonding.
if any financial institution,
Yes.
if they look at your ability to pay and you're not paying your current costs, there's no way you're going to be able to cover any kind of debt. So our ability to secure a loan would probably not be very good.
And currently, our debt, if we look at the total dollars that are spent, 35% of the money spent is to pay bond obligations and loans.
Okay. Well, I guess lastly, Mayor, I don't know what, I guess freezing the fee at this point would do other than just kick the can down the road at some point, and we're going to have to address this issue, or somebody's going to have to address the issue either now or later.
I guess, are you done, Councilman?
Yes, Mayor. Thank
Okay.
you.
My question then is, how much do we pay on a monthly basis on the WIFA loan?
Now that we've fully drawn down the $2 million, we're looking at about $200,000
A month?
a year.
A year. So basically, if we have in the next 2 years those increases, which are going to go up to $3 something or less.
Again, it all depends on the consumption as well as.
No, well, yeah, but on the basic
at
normal
8,000.
use would be how much the next 2 years
About
for
$3.50 a month.
$3.50, and that would be a month. And so we have what, about 6,000 customers or consumers?
Yeah, roughly about 5,000.
About 5,000. So that would be $15,000 a month. So a year would be roughly under 200,000 a year. So it's basically the same thing then at the end of the 2 years of the payments that we're making with WIFA.
But in addition, there are other obligations, debt obligations.
No,
We're paying off the bonds.
I'm just saying that our roughly it'll be $200,000 of in case we went either way. It's still $200,000 at the end of it all.
Yeah.
But yet we have a lot of people here that live in our community that are below the standard of normal poverty. I think most people here earn less than $27,000 a year in our community. The other thing is for them, whatever it is, just the hear of a rate hike puts fear in them, you know, because they're already all, you know, pretty stretched out. Now, most of us here on the council don't have problems, and most of us in this room don't have a problem making ends meet on a monthly basis. But a lot of our constituents, a lot of the people in our community do. And what I'm getting at is that we do spend a lot of money on other things. We're already thinking about another rate hike. It's not a rate hike, but actually, I don't know if we're talking about a bonus or a pay raise. But that's going to be probably over $200,000 a year, and yet, you know, we're not really thinking about our constituents and the people that can barely make ends meet. So somewhere along the line, we have to find a balance. I think this council needs to really kind of seek in, look, and take everything into consideration. But I think Councilman Genesian had his hands first. We'll let him go ahead.
Yeah, I think the increase would be $4.21, right? I mean, that's what it would end up at 257 plus $1.64 is 421. That's what the base would be. Am I right?
Thank you, Councilman.
So the current base is 892, and it would go up to 1025?
1025 plus the 257.
No, sir, it's the difference, it's the 34 cents. So, right now, usage from 0 to 3,000 is currently 223, and it would go up to 257, 34 cents.
257, yeah. Okay.
So we're looking at 267 increase. If it's under, it's 3,000 and under. If it goes to, and again, the cents, the 39 cents or 99 cents, I'm not sure if that's a 3 or 9. It's kind of hard to read. That's per thousand gallons. So if you look at that tier, and they used 8,000 gallons, then it would be, is it the third line? Is it 99 cents? Is that what it says?
Well,
I have a hard time. So $8, about $8.
So I mean, including the base, the base charge plus let's say 8,000 gallons, it's $12.82. It's 10.25 plus the 257, right?
So just to keep in mind, when they calculate the usage and the fee, so an individual, the first 3,000 gallons will be charged at the 34 cents. And then the next remaining when we look at the usage.
Okay, is it the first, okay, 0 to 3.
Right,
okay,
so right now they pay
okay.
$2.23.
Right, so it'd be,
We
so
go up to $2.57.
257, so then for up to 8,000 gallons, it'd be 301.
No, they pay the $2.57 on the first 3,000. And then the difference, the 5,000, they would
that's
pay.
301.
They would pay the 301.
Okay, so then 8. So now we're at 1583 would be the base, up to 8,000 gallons.
That's correct.
That's right. It'd be 1583.
Yes.
But Mr. Mayor, just as a question, I think Dr. Felix, we have a program for low income on the water department. How many people have applied for that? I think a lot of people either don't do it just because they don't feel up to it.
Maybe they're not
A lot of
aware.
people don't even know about it.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of people. What is the program? What is it? Is it 25% off or what?
That I'm not sure. I know there's a senior citizen program and then the low income, but I'm not sure of what the discount is. I would need to ask Angel.
Okay.
for that.
Yeah, but I before, I mean, it was a discussion, I think it was 25%, that this was going back several years just discussing. It was a 25% discount, right? Again, the question is how many people have applied for that? I would say even then it was very, very minimal, very, very minimal. So, you know, Mr. Mayor, I think, first of all, we got to educate the people that there is a program. I mean, everybody knows that if you have your AARP card and you go to Denny's, just want everybody to know that.
Robert.
If you have your AARP, they give you a 15% discount.
I get 20.
Yeah. So all I'm saying is, if we can get the people that legitimately are low income or senior citizens, as I said, if we can get those people to go ahead and apply for this, that will tend to cover what you were saying there about the people that can least afford any increase.
I think we need to
Yeah,
put that out there.
but I would venture to say I don't think there's 100 people applying for that.
But where is the breaking point? How much? What does the city consider poverty level?
Mr. Mayor, I mean, that would be my suggestion, is actually we bring back that program back for discussion to see why it isn't being worked in, or maybe we need to tweak it in a way so people do take advantage of it. So if it's there and no one's using it, we need to find out why, and maybe we need to tweak it to
And put it on the agenda for the next time to discuss
Or
it.
maybe whenever we send out the water bill, we should be sending out a little information deal where they said, you know, and if not, there's people that we all know that could apply for it, and let's get them to apply for it, right?
Okay.
If they're really low income or senior citizens that need it, let them apply for
Or below the poverty level.
it. Below the poverty level, yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, so do you want a motion to table this?
I think it's better at this point, I think
To
we
table
need
it?
to, we need to table
So
it.
move.
Like, the
Second.
we have a second, okay. Oh,
I was just gonna make a comment
For point of order, there was a motion and there was a second.
to approve.
Okay,
Doesn't
to-
take precedence
to
over
Table.
approve.
well, that's right, we didn't even vote on it.
So there's been no vote on it. I
So-
believe the same person who made the motion
Needs to
Can I
is seeking to,
rescind it, or-
No, it was
amend,
me.
amend the motion.
Amend-
is either just seeking to amend it or rescind his initial motion.
I'll
with-
move to rescind it.
Well, no, I'll go ahead and make a motion to amend,
I think that Mr. Councilman Maldonado has something to say, and I've been waiting here, and
Okay.
you've been skipping over me.
Right.
So before you go to a motion to table,
no, we're not going there.
okay, so let's finish the discussion.
He wanted to amend.
Oh, you want to amend?
He was.
He wants to amend, I just want to speak.
Is it okay if,
You can go ahead, Georgie.
H before B.
Thank you.
okay.
You know, we've had this problem of the water rates on city council way back when I first started in 1980. It's one council after another, pushing it off to another council, because nobody wants to deal with the increasing of the water rates. The city manager says we have $12 million that we need to go ahead and establish an infrastructure to make sure that our aging and decaying water lines are preserved. And it's not $12 million, Dr. Felix, it was $12 million 3 years ago. It's probably with a rise in cost of construction, because we've waited, $12 million is now $15 million. We continue to delay. We have to do these services. I'm not one to increase fees. Very conservative in my financial philosophies. But if we understand that the enterprise is supposed to be self-sustaining, and you look at the presentation of these sheets right here, we've barely made, in year 17 to date, $441,000 to save. But there's been many years that we've had to take money out of the general fund to supplement our enterprise funds because they've been in the red. Now, when we take money out of our general fund to supplement the enterprise funds that should be self-sustaining, that means that we can't pay for 2 police cars. That means that we gotta cut down on recreational programs. That means that we can't buy that fire truck that is urgent, or that ambulance, or the supplies for the firemen to go provide those services there. Nobody wants to raise the rates, but it's something that we have to do. These people are going to be extremely upset with us when we come into a financial crisis that we can't fix all of those water lines, and we can't get the loans that we want to get, that we should have gotten 3 years ago. And beyond that, that $15 million is going to incrementally increase where it's going to be beyond our needs. And instead of having 10 projects to fix, we may be limited to only 3 projects. If you look at the list that's provided here of all of the streets, the street names with all of the projects on it, with very few exceptions, people that live on these streets are not, multimillionaires. Where we're going to be doing these projects is the people who need the most help, the elderly, the senior citizens. These are the streets that we're fixing. These are the water lines that we want to fix. These are the people that need help. So,
They're not going to get much help if the water line breaks.
well, I think that we should just, a council makes an agreement, let's keep to the agreement so that we hold our financial stability though too. We provide services here, and we don't do it with a property tax. There's a lot of cities that have a property tax and all these enterprise funds above the property tax. We do very well in managing our affairs, but our police vehicles, our fire department vehicles, they're decaying, our water lines, our sewer lines are decaying. Why are we going to continue to say we need the revenues to go ahead and correct? Our main responsibility is to make sure that we provide an infrastructure for our residents and an infrastructure to attract business to our community. Nobody wants to deal with the issue. We just want to keep prolonging it and prolonging it. Let's take a vote on it and let's see where it lies. I just don't see why we want to continue and why we ourselves are trying to dodge a bullet that another council a couple of years ago, and you guys, there's some of you that were on that council, agreed to this. You agreed to it. You voted for it, like Mr. Lucero said. So let's stick with that game plan and that. I just don't see going back and forth on this issue like this. Let's help these people, but we also got to take care of our financial needs though too. I want to take a vote on this issue, and let's settle this up so we give direction to the city. This thing of tabling everything, let's stop that. Let's just vote and let it fall. If you guys want to hold back on it, I'm not going to support it, but let's take a vote on it and let the public know how we feel. I want to take a vote on it.
Do you want a roll call vote or?
Yes, please, Mayor.
Okay.
I think, I think Mr. Maldonado wanted to say something.
Yes, that's right.
Thank you. Thank you. No, I was just going to comment to Janet about, is there any information on informing the public on those supports or help that people could get, that we could bring out and display at our windows or bulletin and stuff like that? Can we please do
we
that?
could probably do something on the screens.
Please.
Something and signs and in the bills. You could probably include if if you're having trouble paying your bill, come in and see us.
On all the bills, but then again, I think we all know people that need it.
Right.
I mean, it's not a mystery. I thought that would kind of, help along with the idea that the mayor had there, because the people that need it the most, they can get help on it. I mean, there's, all they gotta do is ask for it, right? It's in the our rules and regulations, so that all they gotta do is ask, and that will cover the people that, like you said, that need it the most.
Fine. Let's do that.
Yeah, I agree that, let's vote on it, and the people that need it the most, they can come in and get help.
Okay. No problem. Sounds good. All right, so.
Mr. Mayor, I believe, I believe Councilman Rojas made a motion, and you seconded the motion. I believe there's a call for the question.
Right, and we'll go ahead and do a roll call on that, Becky. We'll start here on my side. And this, what it is,
It's a motion to
the
table.
discussion, no, it wasn't to
Well,
table.
actually, no, I apologize. It is a motion
It's
to.
still the motion.
It's a motion to proceed.
It's a motion
To,
want the agenda items.
to approve the agenda or disapprove?
The agenda.
To vote on it.
Correct.
Mr. Mayor, just for a matter of clarity, would you please repeat the main motion?
The
So
main-
there's no confusion on the vote.
Okay.
What's the main motion?
The main motion is
The main motion should be.
to approve freezing the water rate for 1 year.
Now,
That was freezing it?
yes.
Freezing, not to,
It has to be in the positive sense, so that's the appropriate motion to make.
Right.
Now let's vote.
Okay, just once again, voting yes would freeze it.
Yes.
with freezing.
Voting no,
We continue with what.
We continue with what we're
continue
doing.
the program as
Yes.
it was voted on before.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So, I vote aye to freeze.
Mr. Maldonado,
Nay?
Mr. Lucero,
Nay.
Mr. Rojas,
Nay?
Mr. Barona,
Nay.
Mr. Anisian,
Nay.
Mr. Diaz,
Nay.
Okay, motion passed.
No, motion failed.
Oh, motion failed.
Motion failed.
failed.
6-1. Next. We go to number 3. And we have discussion and possible actions, City of Nogales, employee guidelines and policies, roles and responsibilities. Do I have a motion to approve?
So move, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Second, open for discussion.
Mr. Mayor, could you please have the city manager just give us an I've already read over it and discussed it. I just, for the public to be aware of what's going on, if you give us an overview.
Mayor, Councilman Barona, the changes are to improve accountability in terms of vehicle use and all that, and some incentives, disincentives to, or incentives not to be careless and the like. and also some issues at various sites in terms of health and safety and welfare of our employees, and that they be reminded on an annual basis that they have these responsibilities to do the work with care and be accountable for any accidents that they impose on themselves, and so that's clarity in terms of policies and procedures administratively, and some remedies for actions that are taken that are not congruent with what city policy calls for.
Well, Dr. Felix, I think what you're doing here is taking us a step forward, a big step forward of accountability. This coupled with what's happening in a future order here on OSHA for accidents and how we're reporting them, and how we're going to prevent them, I think overall is going to help the city tremendously, especially here, this thing of not smoking, especially at the Public Works Department, your accountability on discrimination, harassment, the dress code, the timekeeping, all of these things is going to go into the personnel manual.
Yes.
And especially the partnership that you're building with the individuals from OSHA of the state of Arizona. I think I know it's going to take us in a very positive, and your leadership is very much appreciated, Dr. Felix.
Thank you.
And I concur with Councilman Barona. Thank you so much for the good work you're doing, Doctor.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor of approving this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? None? Motion carried unanimously. Now we go to orders. Number 1, consideration and possible action of order 2018-07-042, an order of the Council of the City of Nogales, Arizona, recommitting local funds as leverage for fiscal year 2018 Colonias Community Development Block Grant application.
So moved.
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay, open for discussion?
Mr. Mayor, Dr. Felix, I noticed on the background there that we are deducting $37,000 from our responsibilities down to 22%, I think. What was the area that was outside our city boundaries or so that we included in there that we can include, and who is going to cover that? Because isn't that the project with the county? So I just want to make sure that we don't get into conflicts with the county. Right. I know our responsibility financially is reduced, but I want to know what part that we agreed to that now they disapproved that we couldn't be a part of that.
I'm not sure.
Does
I have to
anybody?
rely on
There we
Mr.
go.
Dillon to
Yes,
answer that.
please.
Evening, Mayor, members of the council. I don't have extensive information about this project, but in Mr. Kissinger and Mr. Guerra's absence, I'll try to explain, just kind of give you a quick overview of this. So essentially what happened is this is part of the Colonias grant, right? It's a $2 million grant. The city received points towards the grant if we did a 26% match towards the construction costs. As the city was working on the grant application, essentially the scope of work shrunk, and which reduced ultimately the construction cost that the city was accountable for towards the project. In terms of where the boundary of the scope of work was reduced, I don't have that information offhand, but I can follow up with staff and get that information to you as soon as possible. But essentially, it just reduces the overall commitment from the city, so we should be in good shape.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Dillon, I just want to make sure that there's no conflicts with the county on this thing, that we make a commitment, we keep our commitment. I know that it wasn't approved, but just to make sure that we have good working relationships with the county, that they know what's going on, and they might have, because this $37,000 less for the city, that means that they have to pick up that $37,000. So I just want to make sure we have good relationships, okay? That's all. Thank you.
Sure.
You can send us with.
We'll follow up. Great. Thanks.
Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Barona. Any other comments or seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor of approving this order signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Seeing none, motion carried unanimously. Going to number 2, consideration and possible action of order 2018-07-043. In order of the Council of the City of Nogales, Arizona, authorizing an intergovernmental agreement with the Nogales Unified School District Number 1 related to the use of facilities. Do I have a motion to approve?
So move.
A second?
Second.
Mayor,
Open for discussion?
I think Mr. Lucero and I probably have the same thing, so you
Yes.
wanna,
Yes,
Yes,
that's,
sir. Go ahead, Councilman Lucero.
for the record, Mayor, I wanted to state that I said as a member of the Nogales Unified School District Governing Board, and I will not receive any financial interest in this matter whatsoever, so I don't believe I have a conflict of interest.
Is that what you wanted to say also, Councilman?
well, I did, but Mr. Plata raised another issue. I wanna make sure there's clarity on this particular issue, and that's the issue of perception. Do I have an issue of perception that I could receive something punitive down the line, or a financial reward down the line for this?
I think, Mr. Mayor, Councilman Barona, Councilman Felix, I'm sorry, Councilman Lucero, basically laid it out correctly. At the end of the day, if you don't perceive a pecuniary value to be gained under this particular IGA, then state so for the record, Councilman Barona, and you can proceed to participate in this vote.
Okay, then I state here that I have nothing to gain as a member of the Nogales Unified School District Governing Board in voting for this item on the agenda.
Is that monetary?
Not monetary, not perception-wise, nothing at all.
Very well.
Anyone else? Seeing none, I call for the question. All those in favor of approving this order signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Where's the
Any
motion?
nays?
You made the motion, I'm sorry, I just want to make sure we have the right.
And second by
Mr. Lucero, you seconded that motion?
I didn't.
Who seconded that
did.
motion?
Yeah.
Councilman Rojas seconded the motion, so it was, thank you.
Motion carried unanimous. Next, we have number 3, consideration and possible action of order 2018-07-044, an order of the Council of the City of Nogales, Arizona, authorizing an intergovernmental agreement with the Nogales School District Number 1 for the reimbursement of the salaries and employee-related expenses of 2 police school resource officers at Nogales High School and the Wade Carpenter Middle School for the 2018 through 2019 school year. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Open for discussion. Councilman Lucero?
Mayor, same as the previous item, just want to clarify that I am on the Nogales Unified School District Governing Board, and I do not have a conflict in this matter, either real or perceived. Thank you.
Okay. Councilman Barona?
Same as before, Mayor, I'm a member of the Nogales Unified School District Governing Board. I have no conflict of interest here, whether it be perceived or any kind of financial reward that I could be awarded in the future.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor of approving this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? None. Motion carried unanimous. Number 4, consideration and possible action of order 2018-07-045, in order of the Council of the City of Nogales, Arizona, ratifying the expenditure for the repairs to Coronado Well Number 6 pump and equipment as proposed by Empire Well and Pump LLC in the amount of $136,367.81.
So move, Mayor.
Okay, second?
second.
Okay, open for discussion? Yes, Councilman.
Mayor, I want to address my comments to Dr. Felix. The background is well explained, Dr. Felix. You acted on this right away to make sure, because with this Coronado Well Number 6 down, that supplies the majority of our water to this community, and I think the well goes down 562 feet.
Right.
And it took specialists to take a picture of what was going on there, and you got it done right away. But you did get 3 quotes, but only one. You asked 3 people to quote, and only 1 responded. So I thought it was handled well. I just want to compliment Dr. Felix that you didn't jeopardize the water flow for our community.
Right. Thank you. I concur with that. Congratulations for the job well done, Dr. Felix. Any other comments or discussion? Seeing none, I call for the question. All those in favor of approving this order signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, any nays? None? Motion carried unanimously. Going to number 5, consideration and possible action of order 2018-07-046, an order of the Council of the City of Nogales, Arizona, approving a memorandum of understanding with Santa Cruz County, joint funding of a pavement improvement project for Congress Drive, and approving a construction contract with Days Excavating Incorporation in the amount of $174,560.
So move, Mayor.
Do I have a second? Second. Open for discussion. Councilman Varona.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wanted to address this, my comments to the media. This is a prime example of this mayor and council working positively with the Santa Cruz County Board of Supervisors to take care of a problem that is right there, the street, Congress Street, that's adjacent to McDonald's, where there's a lot of deterioration going on there. And we got caught in some kind of quagmire there, legal quagmire, because the county says it's not their street, the city legal department says it's not the city street. So it's got to be somebody's street, or we're going to let that deteriorate. So we all work together. We've got a nice agreement here, and we're splitting the cost 50-50. And I think it's good that we were able to do this, working together. What can happen? See, we make our community better. And tourists, a lot of tourists go through there. And instead of getting into rut holes and all of that, and complaining about our community, it'll look nice. So this is nice that the mayor and the council are working together with the Board of Supervisors through our administrative leadership and get things done. So,
well said, Councilman. Any other comments or discussion? Councilman
Mr. Varona, I guess you were reading my mind, but it is nice to see that both city and county are working together. Thank you.
yes. And I hope we can continue to work together. Matter of fact, the theme that we went to last night when we listened to the State of the City address of the Mayor of Douglas, constantly saying, work together, work together, work together, work together. So I hope we can carry that on now, working together.
And you know, I'll point out when you ask the question who it belongs to, it belongs to our citizens. Both entities have the same responsibility to our citizens. So working together, we're gonna I think have a happy citizenry, and we're also going to be doing a good job for the whole community. So thank you, Council, for working so closely together. I think Nogales is on the right path, and I think we're going to see it go forward by leaps and bounds. I don't think we're going to be next year. We're going to be proud of what happened this year. And again, I thank the leadership that our city manager is giving us.
Excellent.
And also, I believe that he has a lot to do with our harmony and unity of bringing us together and keeping us kind of together, because we know we have a person we can rely on to get the job done. So thank you all for that. Going to the next one, and I guess do we have it?
Round 7.
We did 6.
Okay, so we're with all the talk here,
We were under discussion.
we're under discussion. Any other comments or questions? Okay, Dr. Varona?
No, nothing.
Okay.
I'm ahead of myself.
I'll go ahead and call for the question before we go somewhere else. Call for the question. All those in favor of approving this order signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Seeing none. Motion approved unanimously. Now we go to the next one, which is 6, consideration.
Skip.
Oh, la que hicimos con ese acto. There you go. Thank you. 7, Consideration and possible action of Order 2018-07-048, an order of the Council of the City of Nogales, Arizona, approving a public entities partnership program agreement with the Arizona Division of Occupational Safety and Health.
So moved.
Do I have a motion to
Second.
approve?
So moved.
And second? Councilman Lucero?
Yes, second.
Second. Open for discussion? Yes, Councilman Barona?
I just want to make, this is a wonderful program.
It is.
Thank you for bringing this program, especially when it's a freebie, okay? And
That's
it's a 3-year commitment. I think what you guys are doing. The only thing that I want to make sure of is under the termination of the agreement. I just want to make sure, Dr. Felix, that the mayor and council are informed in writing immediately by also yourself, if in addition to the voluntary termination, this agreement will be terminated if the city of Nogales does not comply with sections 4 through 11 herein or under additional circumstances. A fatality occurs resulting in whole or in part from non-compliance with OSHA standards. The city of Nogales exhibits a pattern of non-compliance with OSHA standards. The city of Nogales fails to correct hazards identified during compliance inspections or consultation visitations. If that is to happen, a determination, we want to know about it immediately, what is going on.
Before you take any action,
We want to know.
yes, that way we can.
Very.
No, if I may.
Over here.
Yes. City Manager, Mayor, council members, if there's ever any action, any consideration of what's going on, or if there's some type of examples that you're not complying with what we're asking to do. And again, it's all cooperative. That's what we're looking for. We're not looking for moving mountains and you will get this done. That's just not the way we work. But we're working collaboratively. We have set dates and we're moving things forward. You will know firsthand whether or not we're going to move into somewhere where it's enforcement. And I want to tell you right now, Councilman Barona, is that we've never done that in the past 7.5 years that I've been in my position as assistant director or deputy director, and now even as my interim director. We don't look unkindly to employers that may have just a disagreement. It's going to come up. I'll tell you right now, there's going to probably be a standard or something that we see out there, or a work activity that does not have an OSHA standard. And what do we do with it? And that's what we'll work with Mr. Parra and the rest of the groups out there to figure out what can we have as a medium, and we'll meet from there. But as far as terminating the agreement, we haven't had anybody that exhibited some type of nonconformance to what we're asking for.
Just
Yes,
for the
sir,
record,
Councilman
could you
Lucero.
state your name and position? That way
Yes,
it
sir.
would be clear.
Jesse Atencio, Interim Director, Arizona Division of Occupational Safety and Health, out of the Industrial Commission of Arizona, the agency.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anything else that the council has for Mayor? I could. Again, thank you so much. We appreciate you contacting us and really helping us out, because you guys are a blessing to this community and to our administration. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having us.
Since we don't have any other comments, I call for the question to approve.
Mr. Mayor, before you do make some comments, if I may.
Oh, yes, please.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, I just want to say that it's been a pleasure going back and forth with Mr. Lupencio and his staff on this matter. We did get some information as well from the city departments with regards to the case incidents, and that's a part of the of this agreement that's still it needs to be further explored, and we'll be providing that information to Mr. Lupencio. But other than that, I think we tried to be as diligent as possible in putting together this agreement and putting it before Mayor and Council. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Parra. And seeing no other questions, we're going to call for the question, and all those in agreement to approve this order signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Seeing none, motion carried unanimously. Now we go to Mayor and Council's report and Dr. Barona's comments on current events. Number one.
It's all his reports, Mayor and Council.
Almost.
Well, you had an opportunity, Mr. Pata outlined it for us on our retreat, to just go to Dr. Felix, tell him what you want listed.
I think we gotta limit it to one, not
Can't
20.
help it if you guys like to sit at home and watch Fox News
I
all
think,
day.
I think we should limit it to one, not.
Anyway, Mayor.
Okay, yes, the
And
first
maybe,
one there,
maybe,
Nogales
maybe limit the
article,
comments
Dr.
to
Barona.
a minute.
Thank
We'd
you,
like
Mr.
to hear
Mayor.
from you.
I've been reading, I'm fortunate enough, I get the University of Arizona and Arizona State University Alumni Magazine. And there's a nice article right here from the University of San Francisco talking about Ambos Nogales. They send students down here. It's a wonderful article about our community. I read the whole magazine.
Where'd you get that from?
From Councilman Henesian was showing it to me. He's a graduate.
Should have
How did he
ordered
get
one
it?
for the whole council.
He got it, but I want to read one of these things of these comments that they made on our community and why they're here and everything, which I think is very prevalent here. It says here, as students of a Jesuit university, we are encouraged to weigh what we see against the idea of cura personalis, care for the whole person. The only thing is, Mayor, that care for the whole person is what this community is about. The University of San Francisco messed up with Councilman Henesian because he does not care for the whole person. I don't know how. I think we should write the president a letter that he does not exhibit these traits as a member of this council at all. So the article is good, but something is wrong with our graduate over here because he does not exhibit cura personalis.
It's just for his body he
If
cares
we could
about.
put a little thing right here to remind of where he graduated from. So I'll pass this out for everybody. Commander. Also on my computer, I don't know, it's on a time or
It's
something.
a city council retreat.
All right.
So
City
means
council retreat.
he can't talk.
City council retreat.
City council, okay. We had a council retreat up in Tucson before we went to the Arizona Sonora Commission, a whole day retreat up there. And I just want the public to know, we got a lot accomplished as a council. We laid out how we felt, what we needed to do to progress, how we were going to be respectful to each other's opinion. And I've seen there you go again. We agreed on this and now you're starting again.
I just want to know if that picture of you and the mayor hugging is going to be on the
No,
monitor.
it's not. And it was a good retreat. We had a lot and we set up our strategic plan. We updated our strategic plan. Basically, we're going to stay on the same course, with the exception is we want to look into annexation now to help our community grow. So we're going to be looking at that, and hopefully we'll be talking about that soon. But I just want you to know, I thought it was an excellent, and all of the council participated. Everybody shared. Everybody was vocal, and I thought it was a very good retreat. What's the next?
Naleo.
Oh, NALEO. NALEO is the National Association of Elected Latino or Appointed Officials. And we went down there and it was very good. There was 2 items that I thought that they're telling every community to be aware of. Make sure that the community understands. Number 1 is the citizenship question that's coming up on the census, okay? And that we should talk about that and make sure we express our feelings about that, and also the census itself, that we make sure that everybody in Nogales is counted, that we promote that, because the counting, the population of the city of Nogales is important to us, because that's how we get our federal and state funding, especially the funding from the taxes for the HER fund to fix our streets. So it's important that everybody in the city of Nogales gets counted and all of that. And Mr. Bud, I didn't put down, but I'd like to speak on the Douglas thing that we went through yesterday. Could I speak on that? It's just a brief.
It's not on the agenda, Councilman Barona, Mr. Mayor. It's not on the agenda. I know earlier the mayor
I-
allowed
I-
for some leeway on a public comment, because you were a member of the public when you went up and stepped down from dais, and the mayor had the discretion to allow you the time to make those comments, but it's not on the agenda, Councilman Varona, and because it's not on the agenda, I don't believe it's appropriate for you to make those comments, unfortunately, on our agenda.
I'd like to question that, because.
We're the only ones that have to put it on the agenda. I sit
No,
on the
no,
school
no,
board,
because
we don't put
it
on
says here, report on current
Right,
events.
that's what it was.
Oh, is it, Your
It
Honor?
is,
I
it
mean,
is.
Your Honor.
Yeah, no, but it says report on current events.
Let him talk so we can get
Uh,
out
Oh,
of here.
I apologize.
And
You're correct.
That meant
That is
somebody
not-
could
I-
say
Go
something
ahead,
else
hurry
if they
up.
had, on current events.
Well, we went last
And that was yesterday.
That's correct, that's correct.
So
And I
we're-
apologize,
I
I
think
did
that
not
makes
see
coverage.
that last little part there, current events.
Yes, a
And
current
so-
event, that's all it is.
That's it.
We went yesterday to the city of Douglas, they invited us. The mayor there gave his state of the city address, which was very good address there. They were very glad that our mayor was there and the council people, Mr. Councilman Diaz, Councilman Genesian, and the mayor were the only ones there. Councilman Lucero didn't go there. He should have been there because he's from Douglas, born and raised from Douglas, and he didn't go.
I work for a living. I'm not a retiree like.
But let me tell you, and it was nice when the mayor was saying that Douglas is the best community on the border, and then he would apologize to our mayor because he knows that we're on the border. It was a wonderful time, and the people of Douglas, let me tell you, they were so appreciative that we were there, and we talked about items of concern that we have there, and I think we did very well in marketing Nogales up there with Douglas, because we were the only ones who showed up, and they were very appreciative.
Thank you. Yes,
Mayor, I'd like to remind the council that on Wednesday, July 18th, there will be a 6 p.m. meeting for approval of the final budget. And then on Tuesday, July 24th, there's a legislative update presentation by the League of Cities in Town at 4 o'clock.
where?
Here.
Let's repeat that.
The final budget approval meeting will be July 18th, 6 p.m.
6?
6 p.m.
Okay.
And then Tuesday, the 24th, at 4 p.m., the Leagues of Cities and Towns will present a legislative update on past legislative action taken by our
Just on the, if I may, Mayor, there's an election forum on the 24th at 6 o'clock. So just tell them to get to the point within 60 minutes.
Well, Councilman Maldonado just had his finger there. We'll go with you.
Okay.
Go ahead, sir.
Dr. Felix, is there any way to do the 18th early or change times? Because on the 18th, I've got 8 o'clock meeting with umpires, 9 o'clock meeting with the regional tournament coaches, 11 o'clock meeting, coaches and umpires, 3 o'clock I got the parade, 5 o'clock I got opening ceremony, 6 o'clock the first game, and you know, either move it up, but can we do it a day before?
No, but that, council, it's been advertised by legal, so we couldn't do that.
Unless I call in or.
You can call in, yeah.
Because presently I see it very hard because of my other commitment.
Right.
Or you vote your proxy, I'll vote it if you want.
No,
We would have had it
Councilman,
done if we hadn't pushed it back. Because
remember
Marcy
that,
pushed it
council,
back.
don't give your proxy to Councilman Enesan. He's not cura para nasa.
Then,
Yeah, we've advertised it, we can't change it.
okay. And then on the 24th, it's at 4 o'clock?
Yeah, 4 o'clock.
So, kind of, let's clarify those times again.
Yeah,
Because they got,
the
every time we
18th
discuss something, everything gets
18th is at
twisted
6
around.
o'clock.
So Wednesday, the 18th at 6 p.m.
Okay,
Okay, that's the final budget approval.
okay.
Tuesday, the 24th at 4 p.m., legislative update by leaves the city in town.
Right, that's what I think.
That should be about 45 minutes, an hour,
Okay, that's fine.
at max.
Thank you again.
So let's see.
Anything else? Yes, Councilman
I
DeSantis.
just want to report that everyone in Douglas called and told me they had a big fight after Dr. Varona left because he caused so many problems.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn?
Yes,
Second.
the second, we have a motion to adjourn, and we have a,
Aye.
second, all right, all in favor, signify by saying aye, aye. Motion carried unanimously.
So much again.